Who the hell are you?
Hi, John.
Oh, wait.
It's me,
coming.
Kat.
It's coming back to
sorry.
me now. Wait, don't. It's coming back. Didn't we used to do a podcast together?
John, this is your life. Many years ago,
Oh wow,
ages ago, you and
Yes.
I co-hosted a podcast together.
we did.
Do you remember that?
I do vaguely recall that. Is this a reunion show? Is that what's happening here?
Yes, it is. No, it's
Whee!
we're rebooting the podcast. It's a reboot.
It's a reboot. I like a reboot. Like
They're okay. Sometimes they're not great.
I like a reboot of shows I didn't like in the first place, because then it's like, how are they going to fuck it up this time? In a totally different manner, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, hey, it's good to see your face.
Hey, John. It's good to see your face.
I wish the listeners could see your face. That's how good your face is right now.
That's so good. Your face is kind of, the sun is hitting you in a way that's like you're kind of on fire right now.
You're right. We went from golden hour to my face is a hot spot. That's what's happening. It's just like I might as well be a plaid jacket right now, like a really tight houndstooth.
Yeah, it's
check.
just like you're blown out, man.
Yep. That's what's happening. It's all right. It'll fade. The sun goes down every night.
That's
I'm
what they
used to
say.
it. So what is it we're doing? Because you're going to need to teach me how to do this again.
John, we're recording a podcast.
Okay.
It's called My Mistake.
So it's called Cat's Mistake?
No. My Mistake.
Right. Cat's Mistake.
No, My Mistake.
So it's John's mistake?
Say it with me, John. My mistake. My
mistake. Mistake.
My mistake.
My mistake. Okay.
That's you got it.
Thank you.
Nailed it.
Just, sometimes it takes me a while to get there, and then, but then once I do, I'm glorious.
So good.
Yes.
John, ask me how I'm doing.
Kat, how are you doing?
John, I'm terrible.
I'm so sorry. I know. I'm so sorry that you're terrible, but do you want to tell me and the mistakers why you are terrible?
Yeah,
Kat?
well, first of all, it is good to see your face on my Zoom here, and it's good to talk to you.
Ditto.
We took a break.
We did.
After taking a break, we had just come back from a break, it feels like.
I feel like we had, because there was this is how this works. Remember when in 2016 everybody's like, "Oh my God, 2016 was the worst year ever," and then like things got maybe a little better, and then everything went to shit. Like it was like
Steady
oh my
downhill.
God, I would pay good money to go back to 2016 right now.
Yeah.
We had taken a break, and I gave you some crap about it. I called it a
did.
forced hiatus, and
You did that.
kind of thing. And then.
So let's. I'm going to take you back. I'm going to tell you a little story about the saddest summer ever.
Oh God.
And again, if you're new to the podcast, wow, what an episode to come back for.
Hey, this
And
is how
also-
every single one is going to be. Like every
Yeah.
single one has been this way, and it always will
Exactly.
be. Yep.
I laugh through the tears. I laugh through pain. So I don't think what we're talking about is funny, but it's how I kind of cope with going through things. So that's
To be fair.
I'm putting that out there.
To be fair,
Yeah.
I don't think you have to justify to anyone in the world the fact that you can find humor in a situation that might not be, that other people might treat with sort of a lot of respect and dour countenances. Yes.
Well, thank you.
I'm just
Thank you
saying
for
words now.
And I'm just washing over me. I'm like, I missed this, John.
Whee.
So, and I'm getting ahead of myself. In my head, there's like there's already a conversation going on in my head,
It'll
and
happen.
I'm just like, just hold on, stop. I'm gonna get there. So, beginning of June, we find out that our beloved dog Cooper
Yep.
has cancer, and it's like there's really nothing we can do. It's aggressive. We are just going to ride this out. We're going to make him as comfortable as we can, and make as many good memories as with him as we can.
Sure.
And so that's what we started to do. And I don't think we even talked about Cooper yet on this show because I wasn't ready to talk about Cooper.
No, we talked about
Right?
Max way back in the day, but I don't think we talked about Cooper.
No. So, devastating news. He has been our focus since Max died. And so it was, really hard. And, trying to be like, stay positive in that we're going to have as much fun as we can with him. We're going to make him as comfortable as we can. But knowing where this was going to end. And
Sure.
so he actually outlived his prognosis, which is nice.
Go Coop.
Go Coop. He was tough, man. He's a tough little dude. And, even up at the end, it was like, well, we know things are going to get worse quickly. So we make this, gut wrenching decision to say goodbye to him. And yeah, it was one of the hardest things that we've ever had to do. And we're still grieving him. Like we miss him. And
For sure.
One of his dog beds is right here because we can't bring ourselves to pack it away or get rid of it. We just can't.
Yeah.
We're not ready.
Yeah.
So-
Go ahead.
No, you go.
Oh, the thing about a pet passing that people don't necessarily think about, especially people who don't have pets themselves or who aren't very wrapped up in their pets, especially when one works from home, you spend like 24/7 with that pet. So the actual change to your life can be greater even than if you lose a family member, right? Because let's face it, how often do you talk to that brother or sister? How often do you it's maybe once a week or a couple times a week if you're really close with them. But like the dog or the cat, they are there all the time.
Yep.
Yep.
You're absolutely right. And because we were both working from home since the pandemic, for the past 3 years, I guess, we have spent almost every minute of every day with this dog. And if we weren't with him, we were worried about leaving him at home alone, where
Right.
eventually we stopped leaving him. So we would, if we were going to a friend's house, like your house, we were like, hey man, can we bring the dog? Like he became our constant companion because there's no fucking way we're leaving him alone. Because he was to a point where he was having a hard time walking. Sometimes he would fall. He was getting a little bit of dementia, so he was like confused some of the time. And John, you know this, but like we went through a lot with him.
Oh yes.
It was not an easy last, 3 or 4 months with him because he wasn't sleeping through the night, and so Leah was staying up all night with him basically until he fell asleep, and then she would sleep. Like it just started. That's all we were doing. The last month or so of his life was just, what are we doing today, Cooper? How's Cooper today?
Yeah.
So, that was just so taxing, and emotionally draining, and physically exhausting. Like Leah went above and beyond for this dog, and she would do it all over again for him.
She did, and I know you did too.
Yeah. So the time came. It's time to say goodbye to Cooper. Horrible. Worst day of my life. I thought. It was really rough, but we did it at home. It was with his home vet, and so she knew us very well. She knew him very well, and it was, as far as those things go, I think it was the best possible way to say goodbye to him. And we didn't want to regret not doing it sooner, because we knew that we've had friends who've waited a little too long and have had horrible, basically like rushing the dog to the emergency room,
Right.
wailing in pain. Like, we didn't want that for him. He deserved so much better than that.
100%.
And so, as like our final act of love to him was saying goodbye, because we didn't want to say goodbye, John, obviously. Like we would have held on to him forever, but it wasn't fair to do that to him because he was starting to have really bad days.
Right.
So horrible. That was the beginning of August. And then I feel like the last time we talked on this podcast, my mom had just got out of the hospital.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, I remember saying on this podcast something to the effect of, don't worry, she's all good. But, she was in there for 5 days and things weren't great for her. She was uncomfortable. So yeah, I won't get into detail, but my mom had to go in the hospital. They wouldn't let her go until certain levels in her system were like improving.
Right.
And so that ended up being 5 days, and it was a very uncomfortable 5 days for her. And then we brought her home, and she declined, and like she couldn't. It was hard for her to do anything for herself, and so we brought somebody in to help, and it was a whole big thing. But we thought she was going to make a recovery. There was nothing. It was the farthest thing from our mind that she was, in fact, dying. We had no idea. And so I get the call, and my sister's like, you got to get over the house right now. Mom's unresponsive. Ambulance is here. And again, sparing details, that day, August 14th, it was an awful day. And unfortunately, Mom didn't make it. And that's why it's the saddest summer ever. It's been a really hard couple of months. And so, we just had the memorial for my mom, and John, you were there, and it was so lovely to see so many people come and celebrate my mom, because that's all we wanted to do was to celebrate her, and I think we did a good job.
I think you did a lovely job. It was a beautiful ceremony.
Thank you. So you've been through this. Like, I don't know what tomorrow's going to look like. Like, sometimes I'm like, oh, I'll be honest, like after this weekend moving, we knew that, the memorial was coming. And so my siblings and I were just doing everything we could to make it the best.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what our focus has been. And now that's gone.
Right.
And so, on one hand, it's like, there's a relief that it's over because it went so well and we did what we wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
But also now it's like, well, fuck, what do we do now? How do we distract ourselves? Or why do I feel the need to distract myself? Like, I'm kind of like avoiding what the rest of my life looks like now without my mom.
Sure.
And it is not, I'll never be the same. They say like, you're a different person from before you lose a parent, and then after, you're just never the same. And I totally get that now.
Yeah, I can vouch for that.
Yeah.
You may seem the same to other people, but especially if it's a parent you're very close with, then yeah, I lost both of mine. My dad who raised me, who's my stepdad, but he was my dad, raised me. I lost him in 1999, and then my mom passed in. No, I don't say that. My mom died in December of 2017, and I had a very hard time figuring out like why I was here after that, because she was such a big part of my life. And I would talk to her a lot, and she was sort of my moral compass, and she was my cheerleader and all that kind of stuff. So it's a tough adjustment,
Yeah. And I'm still figuring that out. And I think I texted you randomly like, so when your mom died, did you hyper fixate on all the things you did that were shitty to your mom, or,
Yeah.
Because that's all I could think about. I was like, wow, I was a terrible daughter.
Well, and you weren't, first of all. And that's just objective truth. But the thing is, yes, everybody does that. Oh my gosh, what could I have done better? How could I have done this? How could I have shown her that I loved her more? How could I have made her life better? It's all yeah. I think everybody does that. With my mom, we had lots of time to talk about things like this, so that was a gift that I'm sorry you didn't get.
Me too. And there are so many things that I wish I told her. And I think I was able to tell, like, part of my eulogy when I spoke, were like, okay, what would I tell her?
Right.
What are the things that I loved most about her that I didn't get to tell her?
Mm-hmm.
And it's so not fair that we didn't get a chance to tell her all these things.
Yeah.
John,
Yeah.
it sucks. It just sucks.
It's awful. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Anyway.
I will tell you that this is one of those things where if you have it, it's not really all that. I did have that. I didn't have it at the end because it did move pretty quickly at the end, but we had discussed it because there was a prognosis for her of, I think it was 5 years, and then I think she made it 4 years, and so that was how that went. So there was some understanding that this was coming, unlike with you where it kind of hit you really unawares. You thought this was just some health stuff that was going to be squared away.
Yeah. And, she had the last couple of years of her life were really tough on her physically and emotionally. And so like having the hindsight of it, like looking at it, it's like, oh yeah, it was like a steady decline.
Yeah.
But yeah, we certainly did not think that it was going to happen this way at all. We definitely thought it was like, all right, well, we're going to, and she was like, I'm going to start moving more. I'm going to, like, she realized that she was in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Like she knew she had to do something different. And she had made the decision that, okay, I'm going to start moving more. I want to get a little, exercise pedal thing from I can be moving and stuff, whatever. And then that's even more devastating, where it's like she wanted to get better.
Yeah.
And, her body just couldn't hold on.
No.
So that's what I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
It's been such a fucked up summer, dude.
I think we just marked a first where not one but both of us just cried while
good,
recording
right?
the podcast. That has never happened before.
Maybe are there like is there an award that we can put ourselves up for? Some sort of, is there like a podcasting Peabody or something?
There should be, like, for genuine emotion experienced live on mic.
Yeah.
Yeah. We.
Yeah. So just going through like, having to go and make arrangements and like, I was collecting all the photos from my mom's slideshow for the memorial. And that was just like a brutal job. And like, I'm so glad I have 2 awesome siblings. And so the 3 of us have really just been a united force to get everything done and like kind of take turns losing it,
Yep.
And, making certain decisions and it's like, yeah, no, that's fine. Go and cry in the corner. I'll pick the flowers.
Uh-huh. I am a little jealous of you there. I only have 1 sibling, and we were like, one of us could be off, but that meant that there was only one who was on.
Yeah.
So you can, if you have 2 on and 1 off, that's you can get more done that way, I think.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And it's just like, now it's just heartbreaking now seeing my dad go through this. And, as I mentioned, and John, as you know, it would have been their 57th wedding anniversary in November, in a month or so.
Yeah. As he mentioned, they were together for 2 years before that. So 59 years.
Yeah.
Right?
And they really were inseparable, especially towards the end, because my dad's focus was just on my mom. Like he would insist on coming to her doctor appointments with her.
Mm-hmm.
He was living for her. He would just wanted to do anything and everything he could for her.
Mm-hmm.
And like with us and Cooper, it's like, well, next day the house is really quiet.
Yeah.
And it's empty. And what does the rest of my life look like without her is what my dad's going through. So, that's a whole other fucking thing. And that's just, it's heartbreaking. I'm just really sad. But I miss talking to you. I miss, doing the podcast thing. And it wasn't until last week where I was like, yeah, I think I'm ready to come back. I think I'm ready to talk and come back to this because this is a big part of my life, and it's it's therapeutic in so many ways.
Yeah, this is a huge part of my life.
Yeah.
Like, and when when I was a working person, it was a decent chunk of my life. Now it's like the thing that I look forward to the most.
Yeah, and that's another thing. We're both unemployed,
We're
man.
both unemployed.
Like,
Yeah.
Since the strike, I've been unemployed, but I was supposed to come back in July, and obviously that's not happening. Like, it's just like, what else is going to happen?
Yeah.
What else are we doing here? What's happening? So no,
Yeah.
we've both had a rough summer. This has not been a good summer for me.
I mean, I'll give you the trophy, but yeah, it ain't been a picnic over here.
it's not
either.
a competition, John, but I definitely won it.
You definitely won.
Saddest
Congratulations.
summer. Thank you.
Saddest.
Do you want to talk about your sad summer?
I mean, I don't know how I follow that really.
Oh, you
like,
should have gone first. I'm sorry.
No, I teed you up. It's my bad.
Well,
No,
but
just
listen, like, this is not a competition. And you, yes, I'm not going to
Yeah.
speak for you, but like, just because someone else is having a hard time doesn't minimize
Right.
the struggle that a person is going through. So
right. Well, I can give you the bullet points. All right. So
No.
mid.
I'm on fire now.
You are on fire. Oh, look at you. She's burning up, ladies and gentlemen. Oh gosh, how do you include non-binary in ladies and gentlemen? I haven't ever thought of that until just now.
Well, I know Ann Hicks Bleecker, her
You just
her
don't
line
say it.
is guys, gals, and non-binary pals.
I like it. All
That's
right,
what Ann
guys,
does.
gals, and non-binary pals. All right. Well, I will keep that. I'll put that in my quiver there. Yeah. So mid-June, I had a surprise party of unexpected unemployment.
Surprise!
Surprise. And really, I feel like I'm following the trend. Like I'm just a super trendy kind of hipster kind of guy because it seems like a lot of people are doing this right now. There are a lot of us out there, just getting laid off.
Getting laid.
Getting laid off. And so that happened. And the how they say like those who can do and those who can't teach. Those who used to be able to do manage, and that was what I did. I was a manager. At one point, I was managing a team of 13 people.
Okay.
But what that means is the people who I was managing were writing all of the code. And I was
yes.
no longer writing the code because I was in 7 hours of meetings a day.
And like, you would tell me, you shared your calendar with me once.
Yeah.
I thought my prep meeting schedule was bad. Dude, you can't do anything but have meetings all day.
Yeah.
Like that's,
Yeah. It was nonstop.
it seems unrealistic, really.
I mean, I don't know. I got into it because like I unlike many people, I kind of don't mind meetings, especially if you're working with people who you dig and
Sure.
who are cool and smart. And I
But
mostly
you
was.
need time to do the work that you talk about in the meetings.
Most of the work that I talked about in the meetings took place in other meetings. Like
There
I
you
would,
go.
I would be
Never mind.
meeting with my team
Sure.
and telling them, okay, this is what we need to be focusing on. So let's move these tickets around and figure out whatever, all that stuff. So anyway, that came to a crashing halt.
Yes.
My human interaction probably dropped by about 85% at that point. And even then, I mean, like I was working from home. So it was all happening via like Google Meet. And as I said, I was spending like 7 hours a day talking to people. And all of a sudden, I ain't talking to nobody.
Oh, that's so sad. That's
Yeah.
brutal.
And at that time, that was when my guts decided to mess with me again. I got diverticulitis, which is no fun. And you can look it up if you want, but I don't recommend it. Just assume it's bad guts.
It's weird because it sounds fun.
Does that sound like a roller coaster name? Come to Magic Mountain and ride the new diverticulitis. It'll scare your socks off.
Extreme.
Extreme bowel problems.
Bowel
Sunday, we're going to turn your bathroom into a giant mud pit. Yeah.
Oh,
Anyway.
no.
Oh, no. Yeah, so there was that, and then like started to get that fixed up, and during this time, like I figure I'm not working, and my health hasn't been great, so I figure I'm gonna live my life a little healthier, right? So
Absolutely.
I decide.
Commend you, sir.
Thank you. I decide now. Part of this is like the antibiotics that I had to take for my condition do not work well with alcohol. So that was a 10-day run, and I'm like, I'm gonna not drink for all of August, so I did not drink for all of August, and I'm down like I lost like 15 pounds in the last
Incredible.
month, which is a little too much to lose in a month. I think that's like two. Wait, let me think.
Sure, it's fine.
15, sure. We'll call it 30 days, even though there's 31. But that's a pound every 2 days.
Okay, that does. When you put it that way,
Yeah.
sounds like a lot.
Right, but the thing was, it was partly because I got it again. Like I had it once, then I felt better, then I ate everything I wanted, then I got it again. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna keep not eating everything I want for a while too. So between the not drinking alcohol, not eating much, and what I did eat was very simple, basically like yogurt
Broth.
and
Yeah.
bread and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So now I have lost 15 pounds. And I like it. I'm going to slow it down a little bit. I'm going to lose it a little bit more slowly than I have
Good.
been.
Okay,
But yeah, I would very much like to get down to 200 pounds. That's my goal. Right now I'm at 215.
Okay.
But yeah, and I'm trying to do this in a healthy way.
Good for you.
And that's where I'm at with that. Yeah.
Well, I have gained a lot of weight
Well,
because
that-
I am eating everything in sight.
grief will either make you lose weight or gain weight. It sounds like you got the other one.
I got the gains, baby.
You got the gains.
Yeah, I'm sure I've said this many times. I am an emotional eater. I eat when I'm happy, when I'm sad, when I'm bored,
Yeah. Yeah.
when I've just been eating all the things.
Yeah. Well, you know how you can cure yourself of that? Get yourself a condition where if you eat the wrong shit,
Yeah.
there'll be holes in you.
Jesus
your-
fucking Christ.
Your lower intestine. So yeah, that's how
no.
that's how God cured me, Kat, of my emotional eating. I haven't had a pizza in a month and a half.
Johnny,
Yeah,
John.
right. But the upshot is that I've actually continued. We're now almost halfway through September,
Which is
and I still haven't
fucking
had any alcohol.
mind-blowing to me.
Right? I know.
I'm so proud of you. Good for you, man.
I just figured, like, why start it back up again? I'm saving
Yeah.
money, which I need to do because I'm
Sure.
fucking unemployed. And also maybe best for me not to be pounding my brain cells with
Sure.
with alcohol.
Well, I'll tell you what.
Mm-hmm.
You and I are on two very different journeys.
Well, I think it's the law of preservation of eating habits and drinking habits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I should make a retcon. I've been eating everything in sight, and I've been drinking everything. John, how do you feel about whiskey sours?
Oh, I love a whiskey sour. You putting a some egg white on there too?
Well, let me tell you.
Yeah.
I feel like my face is just on fire right
Well, it just looks like mine did like a half hour ago.
now. Fair is fair. So my brother-in-law, Michael, he makes the world's best whiskey sours. And my sister, she's vegetarian, and she's not a big fan of eggs, so they found this egg white substitute, basically, but it's made specifically for cocktails.
Okay.
And it's like a tincture, so it comes in a little dropper, and it simulates the frothiness that you would
Nice.
get. It's basically it's a vegan cocktail substitute for egg whites, because egg
Right.
whites get you nice and frothy and foamy, and it's a delightful experience. So he makes a wicked whiskey sour, and so I'm addicted. And I've been making them at home. Not as good because I don't like to use the egg white. Whatever. I'm lazy, so it's like lemon juice. There's some homemade simple syrup. I made my own simple syrup.
Nice. Look at you.
Throw some whiskey in there, and I've been. It's delightful. And right after my mom passed, it was just like, it's on.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like just hook up the IV drip. I'm with you.
Oh my God. Yeah.
I ate at every fast food restaurant in the town that I was in when my mom died.
Yeah.
I went, and this was in Indiana, so I went to Steak and Shake.
Hell
and
yeah.
White Castle. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was what I was doing. And then I'd get home and I would have vodka.
None
None of this fancy whiskey sour shit.
Well, and I am lazy, and so then it just turns into like, all right, a couple
Whiskey on the
shots and then some beer. But we are my wife and I, Leah, who I'm married
Who
to.
you married on purpose.
We are we're both unemployed.
Right.
Really rethinking the decision to both be in the same industry. This is twice now that it's like, first the show that we were on together got canceled.
Yep.
It's like, we're suddenly both unemployed, and now this whole strike thing. Anyway, we're kind of on a budget, and I can't go around and, spend money on fast food.
Okay.
John, that's all I want to do.
I believe you. Isn't it weird? When we were young, fast food was cheap, and that's why a lot of people ate it. Now it's freaking expensive.
When did that happen?
I don't know.
Because boy, did it.
It sure did. Because you're talking like $18 at a drive-through for one person. Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
like
one of that one person is either you or me. So let's just assume there's some gluttony going on. But
that's fair. But boy, it's just, it's and I'm not ordering off the dollar menu. Like, come on.
Oh hell no!
Get out of here.
That's when you're like in your 20s and stoned.
Exactly.
When you do that.
But so I'm trying to be good and not eating all the fast food. But this is actually an interesting segue or a tangent. Let's find out.
Let's find out which it is.
I will say that I've got some very, very kind messages from people. So I have this other podcast.
I'm aware of it.
It's called She Nerds Out. And there was no way in hell. I was like, I'm not. As far as I'm concerned, I'm never podcasting again. Like I can't even wrap my head around doing that.
Right.
Obviously, and I feel like this is the one time I get a free pass from John.
Oh, I know. There are lots of things. Don't worry. There are lots of terrible things that could happen to you that would give you a free pass. I don't want any of them to happen.
And so I was like, I'm not doing it, obviously. And then it's like, well, Ann Hicks Bleeker, boy, she can really, she could be a good pinch hitter.
Oh yeah, patron saint of podcasters.
Honestly,
Saint Anne.
And so I was like, hey, do you want to sit in on Snop? Because like they need an editor. They don't do that. And so she did. She sat in for a couple episodes, and she was like, "Hey, are you okay with me telling people why I'm here?" I said, "Yeah, absolutely. Like, I will be talking about this at length at one point on my mistakes. Yeah, please. I'm totally good with that." And so people were so kind. I got lots of nice messages and text messages from listeners because I just give my cell phone out to anybody. But no, honestly, like. And this sounds so hokey, but like the people who I've met through this podcast and through She Nerds Out have become good friends.
Right.
So I will say that like Master Chief Jen, she's a friend of mine. I will say that, Katie, who's now the three of us have Fortnited together. She's a friend of mine.
We have Fortnited. We have committed Fortnite.
And so, there's people who I've met through podcasting who I consider good friends.
Yes.
So those people have been reaching out, and it's been lovely. And that's a whole other, like, between people who live on the other side of the country from me to people like John and your lovely wife, Michelle. And there's just people who just show up and drop off food, who show up just to give you a hug, who send you gift cards to buy food, who just send you a text every now and then and say, hey, I'm thinking about you. Like, I am overwhelmed with the amount of love and support that
Good.
that Lee and I have received, starting with Cooper and now with my mom. Like, I'm humbled, and I can't tell you what it means to me. I've learned a lot about how to be a friend during this time, honestly, having been on the receiving end of so much love. Anyway, I got a FedEx. So going about my business. FedEx, ring, ring, ring.
Right.
Oh, there's a FedEx. And it's an envelope. It's not like a... Listen, sometimes there's a ring. Sometimes there's a knock.
I just want
Sometimes
everybody
there's
to
a
know.
knock that sounds like a ring.
That sounds like a ring. Kat said ring, 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 and she was knocking on.
How
Yeah.
dare you?
Because some things haven't changed, and that's good. You can
that's why
always
I'm
rely on that.
That's why I'm here. So we knock, 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 ring, ring, ring. And I wasn't expecting anything because trust me, like over the last couple of weeks, I've been expecting some things. Like, I also like to shop when I'm grieving. Apparently,
Oh, yeah.
I like to spend money that I don't have.
The great thing is you drink until you're blackout and then just buy shit on Amazon. That's
Not
the
my
best.
fault. I don't
Nope.
remember ordering this.
Nope.
So I wasn't expecting anything. And I will say, it's my birthday month, and my wife is like, you're not allowed to open any FedEx boxes that don't have your name on it. It's like, oh, okay.
Okay. All right.
This one, it was an envelope, had my name on it. I open it up, and it is an envelope, very official-looking envelope from Taco Bell. It says Taco Bell, 1 Glen Bell Way, Irvine, California. Corporate headquarters,
Corporate
John.
headquarters.
This is the corporate headquarters for Taco Bell.
This is like,
I
this is big stuff.
the first thing that I think is like, oh my God, the sponsorship has finally come
came
in.
through. Yep.
I really did. I was like, we talk about Taco Bell a lot.
We had a whole episode, I think, on Mexican pizza and Dolly.
Yeah.
Dolly
and
Parton.
we
Something
did.
like that.
And
yeah.
I was like, oh, this is a dream come true. Taco Bell has heard about me. They know that I'm putting in the work.
Yep.
I'm like, this is the greatest day of my life. So I'm like, what is this? So I open it up. It's very official. I mean, John, this is so official. It's my name and everything.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And I open it up, and it is a gift card. It says to Kat and Leah. Love lives in the butt and in Mexican pizzas. Here's a toast to Mama C and Coop. Love, Jackie and Buster. So this is a sizable amount gift
Right.
card from
Yeah.
Jackie and Buster.
Right.
Jackie is a good friend. She's an ERPer. She listens to both of our podcasts, John. Both of my podcasts, John. And I got to
Hey,
spend
she likes my stuff on Blue Sky sometimes, so I'm good with that.
Jackie is the best. And her gorgeous, beautiful, good boy Buster. He's the sweetest dog in the world. She sent me a gift card for Mexican pizzas.
Yeah.
And I was like, Leah, you will never believe what I got. I read her the card. I said, this is from Jackie. She wants us to have Mexican pizzas. And he's like, great.
Yeah, because this is the best part. It's like she loaded it up with enough for 2 people, not realizing that there's no way Leah's going to touch a Mexican pizza.
No.
Not
and
in this
that's
lifetime.
why this is the
Nope.
perfect gift.
Yep.
So this is all for me.
Go
And
Jackie and Buster.
I will tell you, and I've already texted her this, but I will tell you, Jackie, every dime of this is going to Mexican pizzas. My mom loved Mexican pizza, and I'm looking, and when I'm thinking back, it's like, yeah, my mom and I, we were both kind of obsessed with fast food, and we had our usual spots,
Yep.
and I knew, oh no, I feel like the ones that my mom liked are the ones that I ended up liking for some reason. It's really funny.
Yeah. Could be genetic.
It's probably genetic. So that was it was such a nice surprise. And this is honestly, multiple people have sent us gift cards for food because the last thing you really want to think about when you're grieving is what the fuck's for dinner.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
forget to eat sometimes. Well, Leah does. I never forget to eat. So that was just a really nice, beautiful thing. And Jackie, Jackie, I love you. You know this. Jackie was at Herb
Depot Experience. Thank you. Gosh, why can't you're such a huge figure in this fandom? Why can you not get the name of the convention correctly?
I'm embarrassed.
Okay. Well,
Jackie was there, and she basically ran that whole fucking show. She was a volunteer,
Yeah.
but boy, it would not have been as good of an event as it was without Jackie. And that's another thing. When we found out about Cooper,
mm-hmm.
the oncologist that we went to was basically not basically. She said, yeah, he probably has about 3 to 4 weeks. And when they told us this, 3 to 4 weeks was
Yeah.
Herb Division Expo.
There we go.
I was like, oh, great. I am supposed to fly across the country and moderate a shit ton of panels around the time that my dog is supposed to die. And it was a really kind of last minute decision. Do I not go or what? So I ended up shortening the trip, and everything worked out. And that's probably one of the best things of the summer was going to have fun with some friends, and then coming home and being able to spend time with Goops.
That's
But
cool. Yeah.
anyway, Jackie, I love you. You're the best. Katie sent us some DoorDash money. I got some really lovely emails from AK and some other listeners, and it means so much to me. And we have the best listeners, John. We really do.
We really do.
Oh, Jen and her co-host from the
How many light bulbs?
How Many
does
Light
it
Bulbs
take?
Does It Take? Sent me a lovely card. I am humbled and overwhelmed, and we have good people that listen to this podcast, John.
We do.
I don't need to tell you that.
I'm aware. I mean, I didn't get any DoorDash cash. But, I'm like, that's all right. That's all right. Nobody knows that my toe is as big as a pumpkin.
That's true. Do you want to talk about your toe?
I better talk about my toe.
Let's
if
talk
we're
about your toe.
just for completeness sake.
Your toe has its own zip code now. I think.
Actually, you will find out. It's different now. But
give us the story.
So anyway, the other night, which by the other night I mean 2.5 weeks ago,
Okay.
I'm laying on the couch and I'm like, God, why does my foot hurt? What's up? I go and I look down and my toe is gigantic.
Oh boy.
It is. I mean, full on Fred Flintstone toe. It is red, and it is causing
pulsating.
Eventually, yes, it was throbbing. It was yes, it was awful, awful, awful. And also, if you touched it, you would almost burn your hand. It was that hot. So this was
that's scary, right? That's troubling.
I don't know what you're talking about. Why would you be scared about that? That a part of your anatomy is maybe on fire? Anyway, so long story short, I had a doctor's appointment coming in a week, and I thought I can wait until the doctor's appointment because I am
You are
male.
such a
and
dude.
It's what we do. But then I'm also a modern male, and I did 2 days later went, I can't wait. I went to urgent care.
Good.
They, the woman's like, I think you have gout. And I'm like, that would be really weird because I've already lost 10 pounds in the last 3 weeks. Yes. What's
John,
gout?
what is gout? It's something I've heard. Obviously I'm familiar with the term. I know
Right.
it's a thing. If you asked me to save my life, I have no fucking idea what gout is.
Okay, it's cool. I mean, and a lot of people don't. And then there are ideas that people have about gout that are could stand some fixing up.
Great.
Basically,
let's educate the listeners
fix it
right
up.
now.
Yeah. So gout, Kat, is caused by crystals in your joints.
Oh.
And they are crystals that are made of uric acid. Okay?
Are you making
Now,
this up?
No, I am not. Lord, I'm
Okay.
not. No, I'm intimately aware of this. So there are certain foods that are very, very rich in uric acid, and they are some like foods. It's like some seafood is like that. Red meat has plenty of uric acid. So if you have somebody who's primarily eating like a meat-based diet, and they're eating like the organ meat and like the nice red steaks,
Yeah.
all that kind of thing, and then certain fish. Not all fish. Salmon is good, but some other fish is not good.
Not
Anyway,
all fish. Hashtag.
Not all fish.
Not all
Hashtag
fish.
not all fish. All fish matter though. But yeah. So like she's like, I think you have this. I'm like, there's no fucking way I have that, because I have been eating bread and yogurt for like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And so she's like, okay, well, we're
Okay.
okay, but I don't believe you, she says to me. So she's like, she sends
She
me.
didn't say that.
No, she didn't say that at all.
Okay,
She said, I'm going to take your blood and prove to you that you have gout.
I
And I'm
see.
like, you go right ahead and do that. I said,
Double
but
down.
right. But I also said, but you're going to give me an x-ray of my foot because it feels like it's broken. So, and she was like, fair enough. We'll see what the blood test says, and then we'll see what's up.
Wow. It's a very combative relationship you have with your doctor.
It was fine. Everything was fine.
All right.
Like this is seriously, and I don't know if it's just men. I've only experienced it in men. We do get combative sometimes about there is nothing wrong with me, or what you think is wrong with me is not the thing that is wrong with me, because I know better.
Right.
We're the only people stupid enough in the world to argue with someone who went to school for 8 to 10 years to study
Well,
what is wrong with us.
I'll tell you what, John. It might have a fairly different tone, but that happens with women where it's like, well, I know my body, and I'm pretty sure this is happening. And doctors will say, no. I know better. I know your body better than you do. So like, it's the same kind of conversation, but maybe
Yep.
different energy.
Definitely.
Okay.
Well, especially because the doctor I had was
It
female.
was a woman, exactly.
Yeah. So anyway, we do the blood work. It comes back. My uric acid is mwah. It's perfect. It's like right in the pocket, right where it's
Chef's
supposed to be.
Kiss.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. So,
Okay. Congratulations, by the way.
thank you. You know, I'm very proud of my uric acid content. Anyway, so that's not it. And so she's like, well, I think you have an infection, because that's what the heat and the redness says to me. And I said,
Okay.
well, that would be very tough to do, because I have not injured my toe or my foot. There's no break in the skin. There's not, so it would be really tough
Yeah.
to do that. You know, I don't know, whatever. Anyway, I love that I'm talking about my damn toe almost as much.
No, hey, listen,
Anyway.
I asked, so
It's true. Anyway, this episode's basically about my toe. That's what's up.
we're gonna call this
John's toe and nothing else.
The one about John's toe.
So exactly. No. So anyway, she doesn't know. So she puts me on antibiotics, but I insist on getting an X-ray. They go and do an X-ray. X-ray comes back. Turns out like the joints in my left foot are shitty. I have shitty joints.
Okay.
Just a fact. I have injured that foot before.
That's right.
So yeah.
Famously,
as told, as heard on the My Mistake podcast, I once jumped over a 16-foot chain link fence in Birkenstocks with a rose between my teeth to try to get back together with a girlfriend who I never should have tried to get back together with.
if you're interested in that story and many more, check out the
out
very
our back
first
catalog.
run before the reboot
Yes.
of the My Mistake podcast.
My Mistake podcast, Mark 1. Yeah. So that it's that toe, the one that I dislocated, is the one where all this is going on.
Is this
So
a
I'm-
coincidence, John?
It turns out, no, it is not. There's a real reason why. But they're still like, well, even though your joints are almost closed up, that can't be what's causing this. Now, I want you to know that. Well, I mean, I'm going to circle back to that. Put a pin in that. Here we go. So I take the antibiotic for 7 days, and there's no progress. Everything's still exactly the same as it was. Great. So now I have my doctor's appointment that was coming up that I was going to wait for. And now I can actually go and I can see my doctor who actually kind of knows me. It's nice to have a doctor who has it's bad in this day and age. If your doctor knows you, you probably go to the doctor a lot.
Right. Exactly.
But yeah, anyway, I go and see her. She looks and she's like, oh, well, clearly you have an infection due to an ingrown toenail. And I'm like, okay, here's the thing. Great. Maybe that's it. I don't think so because.
Well, I'm not a medical professional.
Right.
I don't know if I've mentioned that before.
You may have. It may have come up.
I feel like if you had an ingrown toenail, John, there would be like visual evidence of that. Like maybe
some specific redness in the area of the edge of the toenail or something like that. No.
Yeah.
No. By the way, people who have problems with feet are really having a hard time with this episode. I just want you to know.
Yeah, because you can feel it. You can feel it if you've had it. Yeah.
If Kalen Chase were listening to this, he would have tuned out a long time ago.
Sure. I've had a toe thing. I had my toenail removed because of a
ingrown
horrible
toenail.
Yeah, infection. Yeah. Horrible thing.
Yeah. Oh no, I just mean he just is grossed out by feet.
Oh,
I'm not talking about he didn't.
Oh, got it.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So I'm like, okay, fine. Tell whatever you think it is, it's fine. But can I get a referral to a podiatrist? Because at this point, it's like I think that's what needs to happen, right?
Sure.
And my doctor's great. I like my doctor. She usually, in this day and age, she gives me mostly what I tell her she has to give me.
That's the best doctor ever.
Yeah. I mean, well, not the really good things, because I did mention like 6 times how painful it was. She never offered me any good drugs, but
unbelievable.
That's all right. And I wasn't going to come right out and ask for them. Like, I want to go on a vacation. That's a word that I made up in that context. By the way. Vacation. Yeah, that did not happen. I didn't have those. But anyway, so she made the referral, did some other stuff, got me checked out. Basically did like a physical because I hadn't seen her in a long time.
Okay.
All good. Fine. I go and see the podiatrist. She takes one look and she goes, well, you clearly have pseudo gout.
Oh.
I'm like, okay. Now, I want you to know, Kat, back in urgent care, this is 2 doctor's appointments ago. My doctor asked if there was a family history of gout, and I said no, but my mother did have pseudo gout.
Oh,
now, right now, here's the thing: I knew that she had pseudo gout. I knew that it hurt, and that's about all I knew. I didn't know about all the symptoms that went along with it. Otherwise, I could have diagnosed myself. Yeah. It turns out and that was in the first 5 minutes of the first doctor's appointment. I'm now in the third doctor's appointment, and she looks at it and goes, yeah, this is what you have. And she's like, they gave me either 4 or 5, I'm not sure how many, injections directly into the joints involved in the.
Jesus Christ.
Right. And then.
That sounds horrible.
Yeah. No, actually it was fine because there was a spray. I don't know if it was lidocaine or something. Yeah. And the thing was, I had been in so much pain anyway that the spray actually made things better. I'm like, oh, this is actually, yeah.
Did you watch them?
Oh, yeah.
Of course. Yeah.
100%. And she commented on that too, that she's like, oh, you really like to see what's going on, don't you? I'm like, oh yeah. Like I'll never panic as long as I can see what's happening. It's if I'm like looking at the ceiling, I can imagine things that are so much worse than what's actually happening.
That's fair.
Yeah.
No, you're like, oh yeah, no, I host a podcast. She's like, oh, okay, got it. I got it.
No, that would be like you could say, I host a podcast with John Fitzgerald. This is nothing. I suffer every week.
It's like I'm going to tell the story, so I need details.
I told her about the podcast. So
did you?
Yeah, I'll be fascinated if she were to listen to it.
Well, welcome, Dr. Blank.
I probably shouldn't.
That's fine. That's fine.
Dr. T, we'll call her that.
Dr. T.
Dr. T. So the injections, she gave me a cool boot that I then ended up wearing to your mother's memorial service.
Yeah, love that.
It was black, so it went with my suit. Everything was fine. Only a few people noticed.
Did people really notice?
People really, I think Amber,
Oh,
I think
okay, yeah.
noticed it.
Sure,
And
yeah.
I got to meet Jill for the first time.
Oh, that's fun. Should we circle back to that?
We should. She said
Okay.
she would be listening for her name, but
Oh, of course.
but yeah, yeah.
It's the only reason she listens.
That's true. And now we're at 54 minutes and 39 seconds in. We mentioned Jill.
There we go.
But yeah, but now because of that and the 2 prescriptions that I got, Toe is back in fighting shape.
Hell yeah,
There's no
dude.
pain. Everything is cool. It kills me that I lived like that for like 3 weeks, and all it took was Dr. T and her amazing knowledge and skill.
Thank you, Dr.
And,
T.
Yeah, I'm walking again, baby. I'm walking over here.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
I am so glad that is because, obviously, even though we're not podcasting, you and I have been in constant contact
Right.
through these last however many weeks. And like when you told me about your toe on top of everything else, I was just like, come on, man. Like, what the fuck? What is going on? Why though?
Yeah.
And then I
This-
feel like I texted you and I asked you like, "Hey, how you doing?" And I think you were in the doctor's office.
I
'cause
was,
You sent
I
me
was.
a picture of your naked toe,
Right.
about to be injected. I think so.
It's a toe pick.
It's dope.
That's going to be extra funny to any figure skaters out there, right? Wink, wink to the
Oh,
figure
very
skaters.
good.
Uh-huh.
Very good.
Yeah. To be fair, the first time we talked about the toe, I actually said, "Do you want to see it?" And you were like, "Hell
I was
yeah!"
like, obviously,
Uh-huh. So there we go. That's
it was a
that
solicited
toe
toe
pick.
pick. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So that's the story of my toe.
All right.
Yeah, and then so this is yeah, we're at the memorial, and
Yeah.
you may remember at the end, although you may not, because I found that like during a lot of things that happened during my period of most intense like grief, I don't have good memories of it. Like I don't
Yeah.
really know what happened. I assume things. Anyway, at the end, there was music playing, and we were told, thank you.
Yes.
That is the end. But nobody got up.
It was awkward. We weren't sure what to do. It was
Right.
like, should we stand up or yeah? It was a weird moment.
Well, there was a woman who had been attending the sign-in book, who was sitting next to us in the pew where we were sitting,
Oh.
and she let us know, "You can get up," by which she meant get up. So we were the first ones in the church to get up.
That's good. You were we needed you to lead the flock.
Sure. So we walked out and walked right out the front door,
Great.
where I stood for the next half hour.
Really?
About close to that. Maybe not a half hour, like 20 minutes or something.
Okay.
But the thing was, and this makes perfect sense, people were staying inside because it was 90 degrees out.
That's also
and-
true.
right.
Unfortunately.
So we were hanging out there, and I got to see like various friends of the pod.
Yeah.
Saw Jason Bender was there, and
It was like I think Anne said this on Snop. It was sort of like a who's who of podcasting.
Kind of was. I saw Wendy and Tara, and I spoke with them for a moment.
Oh, good.
They did not seem amused by me at all,
All
Kat.
right.
Yeah, and it may be and I think this is a Fitzgerald. Maybe it's a Fitzgerald trait. It might be on my mother's side. In uncomfortable grief type situations, I do tend to crack wise with people if I feel like that is going to go over.
I see.
So it's possible that I was doing that with Jill and Amber
Yeah.
and Anne, and it may be that that they did not approve of me being that way. I'm not sure. But I think I did extend the invitation for either or both of them
good.
to come on the show.
Yeah, it's
We
gonna.
could-
I keep saying it. Mm-hmm. It's gonna happen.
We could do a she mistake nerds out my she my mistake nerds out. I don't know.
Perfect.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, so that was a thing, and then eventually, like, it was like, okay, there's going to be a thing after, which we were not going to, simply because it was inside and
Yes.
we were still masking and all that kind of stuff.
Of course.
And it was like getting really close to the time that was scheduled to start. So I'm like, you know what? I can talk to Kat later.
Yes. And I'm bummed that I didn't get to say hi to you
It is
guys.
totally fine.
But I knew that you were. I knew the guys weren't coming to the after thing.
Right.
But yeah, I'm sorry that I missed you guys. But I saw you
That-
come in. I knew that you guys were there. So
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Good. Yeah. Oh, Patty Lynn.
Patty Lynn.
Patty Lynn. Very big friend of the show.
I mean, listen.
Her book is out now. It is called End Credits: How I Broke Up with Hollywood. It's very good. I'm halfway through it myself at this point.
So, the last couple of weeks went really hard, and we knew that Patty's official sort of like book launch was happening.
Mm-hmm.
And there was going to be this thing and the bookstore and the whole launch, and she was going to be there and she was going to be interviewed and it was going to be great. And Leah was like, you don't have to go. She's like, oh, I will go without you. And, obviously Patty understands, like, she's not expecting you to go. And I was like, well, this will be like, it would have been like the first sort of social thing that I was going to do after my mom died.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so important for me to be there. I was like, okay, I am going to do my best to be there.
Mm-hmm.
And normally when I say that, I don't mean it.
It's like I am delaying the sadness that you will experience when I tell you I'm not coming.
I'm not coming.
Yeah.
But I really meant it. And so I was like, yeah, no, I'm going. Like, I have to go.
Mm-hmm.
And so we went, and I knew that you and your lovely wife are going to be there, John. And I was so glad I went. And it was such a cool fucking moment to be a part of, to see friend in her element talking about something that she has labored over and is passionate about. Like, I had nothing to do with it, but I'm absolutely so proud of her.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Me too. It's like, well, I did try to take some credit. I'm like,
Of course.
because watching Patty Lynn do Q&A, about her book, which, like, at that stage, nobody in that room had read it because it came out that day.
Exactly.
So maybe a couple people who were actually, the publisher, like people that from Zibby Books.
Exactly.
They like, so, but mostly people had not read the book. So, but to watch her, she was so good. And people tried to lead her down, it was interesting. People would ask leading questions where they wanted her to say something. It was clear they were setting her, and she didn't say it.
No, she's very good.
Yeah, she didn't say what they wanted her to say. She said the truth, and it was just, it was really cool. So then at the end, I had to be like, well, all that public speaking from our podcast must have really helped you with that.
And she did she's like, actually, yeah, a little bit.
First she said no, and then
she gives
she
a little bit.
acquiesced.
She gives a little bit.
A little bit.
But boy, John, you can attest, she packed that house. It was
Oh my gosh.
full house, practically standing room only.
There
were some seats, but those were gone immediately.
Yeah, like long before we got there.
We were all standing. Like it was literally a packed house. Burst, like the door, someone would open the door and just kind of like, scoot in enough for the door to close, and that was it.
Right.
Like it was,
which was absolutely terrifying when you're like a COVID freak.
we were masked.
Right, we were. Some of the very few people.
Yeah, 'cause,
were.
I mean, obviously, the last thing I wanted to do was to miss my mom's goddamn memorial because of fucking COVID.
Right.
I became so paranoid.
Yep. Well, that's it. You did not miss it, and
That would have been a nightmare.
It would have. But yeah, this is
Anyway.
a little book. Yeah, it's a little bookstore in Santa Monica with no
adorable
air
little
conditioning,
bookstore. Love it.
and
So
like
cute.
100 people in a room
100
that
people.
could comfortably fit 20. And like I've heard so many horror stories about like people, like whether sometimes it's not even somebody's first book, but they're like, yeah, I showed up to the book event and there were 2 people there, and it's because I owed money to one of them.
And the
Not-
other
not
person was
Patty Lynn.
lost.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, no, not Patty
Such
Lynn.
an incredible turnout. And I will say that Patty's book and her success in this moment has been a highlight of my summer.
It's so nice to see a friend succeed. It really
I love
is.
it so much. It just
There are
makes me
people
so
who say the
happy.
opposite, but screw those people. It's
I'm just so happy.
Me too.
And she's very busy. She's doing lots of media hits, as they say.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't wait to have her on. We can talk about all that. But it's obviously she'll be on soon because she always is on soon because we need her, John.
Usually we usually wait for her to pitch us something, but I think we might need
Yeah.
to reach out this time.
I think it's time for Patty to come back on.
She's always been a get, but now she's a get. I mean,
Well, yeah, like there's some, it's happened where it's like, oh, sorry guys, I can't talk about that because I got an interview or I have an article after. Like it's been like, okay, that's cool. No, that's fine. No, that's okay. Whatever
Yep.
you need to do.
Yep.
Actual media outlets are reaching out to you. We understand.
I texted with her just today. I hope she'll be okay with me sharing this. I'm sure she will. There was a story. There's a story in the book that I was like, hey, Patty Lynn, that story would have been perfect for this one episode that you did. Why did you not tell? And she's like, well, because then it wouldn't have been a book exclusive, would it?
Yeah.
Yep.
So run out and get that book.
Yeah. End credits, How I Broke Up with Hollywood. It's got a very colorful cover. It's
Beautiful
wonderful.
cover.
Unless the second half is just awful garbage, the whole book is great because I'm halfway through and I'm loving it.
Well, and here's a fun little tidbit. There is an audiobook, and it is Patty Lynn who reads it. And I love when the author reads their own audiobook because it just feels more authentic.
They know how they wrote that. They know how it's
Exactly.
supposed to sound.
So I love Patty's voice, and I love that she had the opportunity to read her own book. Like I have it in my. I'm going on a road trip soon, and I have it in my.
Oh, you are?
Yeah. Oh, what? It's on my phone. So Patty's coming with me on my road trip, so that'll be
Nice.
nice. So I'm saving it. But yeah, I love that she's reading her own book. It just
I'm gonna have to
everything
spring
about
for
this
that.
makes me so happy. I'm so proud of her, and I can't wait to talk to her about it when she comes on the podcast.
Me too.
So there you go.
All right. So yeah, this is I love that we did like this entire episode is just us catching the mistakers up with what's up
Absolutely.
with us. I hope that that's okay.
Well, it better be.
I don't really care if it's not, except I don't want to be a bad time for anybody, but
No.
like yeah, but this was necessary.
Yeah. 100%.
But yeah. And
It feels good. It feels good to be back.
It does.
I definitely missed talking to you, John, but also being able to just share what's been going on with us, with our listeners. Because honestly, John, like, this is a very... I don't talk about my emotions very much in my normal life with a lot of people. So coming on to our podcast together and talking about very personal details about our lives, it's really kind of it's changed the way I interact with people. It's made me a much more open person, an honest person with
Love that.
myself and with others. So like it's, I missed it. I missed coming to do that. It is like therapy.
It is a bit. It is, and like if you remember at the beginning, we were both a little reticent. We were like, what are we going to? Are we really going to talk about some of this stuff? And it's
Yeah.
like one of the really freeing things for me because I'm you know me, I'm pretty much boundaryless. I will talk about almost anything if somebody is interested. Like so I yeah. But I was concerned about doing it on the podcast. One of the really freeing things for me to realize was that people don't care. Mostly people don't care, and the people who do care, they're probably cool.
Yeah.
Unless we get big and famous, and then there will be people who care who aren't cool, and that's the whole thing.
boy.
Yeah, what are you gonna
That's
do?
awesome.
Maybe it's best not to get famous. But can we
Yeah.
get rich but not famous?
We'll ask
I'd like
Patty
that.
all about that.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. What's it like being famous? Yeah. The most freeing thing in the world is like, oh my gosh, it doesn't matter that much. It's like, and it will matter to some people, and that's wonderful, and that's who we're doing this for. So, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Here's a completely random piece of information. Do you remember who Jennifer Jason Leigh is?
I once met Jennifer Jason Leigh.
She was in, what was the big one that she was in? Was it Single White Female or something? She was a very big movie star.
Well, she was in like Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Yes.
Yes.
Big star. Huge
Yeah.
star.
Mm-hmm.
She stopped doing movies.
Oh, yeah?
Because, like, have you seen her lately? When's the last time you saw Jennifer Jason Leigh?
I'm trying to remember. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the last.
She left the business.
Okay.
And I recently saw, I do a lot of, I enjoy Instagram, John.
Okay. I
Have you heard of
do
it?
not. I have heard of it. I do. I am very much like, I still am on Facebook a little bit because I'm old and I have old friends who are still on Facebook, but not many, but a few.
Okay.
But yeah, I basically check in on Instagram whenever Michelle sends me something,
Okay. Well,
like a reel that I have to watch or something.
John, I love the reels.
Oh,
I'm all about
who
the
doesn't?
reels. And I saw a reel recently about Jennifer Jason Leigh.
Mm-hmm.
And it was basically like she left the business
Okay.
and a sort of TMZ type person caught up with her. She was leaving the airport, like LAX or something. She looks completely different. And they're like, hey, Jennifer, like, do you think you ever, what director would need to give you a call to bring you back out of the business? And she's like, there's no one that I would come back for. And they're like, oh, why? Like, why not? I like being a normal person.
Awesome. Right?
She
Yeah.
likes having a life and not having to worry about what people think about what you look like or what you say or what you do.
Mm-hmm.
And boy, I mean, compared to what it must be like to be someone like Meghan Markle or fill in the blank, Drew
Yeah.
Barrymore, God help you, Drew.
Oh boy.
Yeah, it must be nice to just be like a normal, boring person.
Oh yeah. I mean, when I said that I met, I hope I'm not exaggerating. I shook Jennifer Jason Leigh's hand.
Okay.
At the time that I did it, I honestly did not know who she was. We were in a dimly lit movie theater, and she was with a friend of mine, and the friend said, "This is my friend Jen."
Right.
And I said, "Nice to meet you,
told the
Jen."
story. Hi, Jen.
And it was either Jen or Jenny. I can't remember which. But anyway, I shook her hand, and then we went back. And the guy I was with, who my buddy, we were there to watch the movie. He goes, "Oh my God, that was Jennifer Jason Leigh." And I'm like, "It was?"
What?
Yeah. So I mean, like that's the extent of my. We're not old pals. She would not
No,
remember that.
I didn't take that to me, not at all.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I get it because like let's face it. What in the world would be better than having enough money to do like the things that you want to do, but nobody knowing who you are? Like
Yeah.
I think that'd be fabulous.
That's the key.
Mm-hmm.
That's the trick.
Get rich, not famous. Yeah.
Boom. That's good advice, everybody.
I think it's a good note to FMP out on, perhaps. Is
I
it?
agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do
All right.
it.
So we're back.
We're back, baby.
We guarantee is strong. We promise we're going to try not to have any reruns for the near foreseeable future.
Yeah, we're gonna try
That's-
really hard.
Yeah. Yep. We're going to work hard for you guys. Working hard consists of us talking to each other, I guess.
We're working hard over here. Okay.
Working hard or hardly working, which is.
Oh.
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 FMP.
FMP.